Welcome on. Welcome on in, everybody. I am your DJ, Ethan Rebuck, for the Keys and Credit podcast, sitting here with Brian Winkler, and we are back for episode 4. And today we are going to be talking about first-time home buyers and that process, both on the lending side, but also the purchasing side and dealing with that real estate agent and loan officer. You know, we're a hard time, so it's about that. So other than that, we will move right into just updating you on everything that happened in this last week, whether it's pop culture events or just kind of how our week or 2 weeks have went. So you want to lead off, Brian?
Yeah, the Chiefs cheated their way into another Super Bowl. As far as work goes, same old, same old.
Yeah.
Fewer first-time home buyers than before. I'm seeing more homeowners willing to finally list their house and get some houses on the market, which we need. So that would be the biggest thing I've seen outside of the Chiefs paying the refs to continue to move on.
That game was kind of crazy. There were some questionable calls in that game, and I was really pulling out for definitely the Bills. Seeing Josh Allen's face for another year on the sideline. I was saying, watching the game last night, they pan over to Josh Allen every year, and he's just sitting there like this. And he's never going to be able to escape Patrick Mahomes and the referees. So who knows?
You're too young for this, but that was John Elway for us.
John Elway.
3 out of 4 years we lost to them in the AFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl.
So is the fumble, the drive?
Fumble and the drive were the two heartbreaking ones. And then that was 86 and 87, 89. They just blew us out.
See, I know a little bit of history.
I've
Brown's history because
I was there. I was the most depressed second grader.
Yeah.
After the fumble, like my teacher literally called my parents about a month after that because she was concerned about me. So
like drawing skulls on the desk, like, damn John Elway
and his buck teeth. But
right.
So no, I know how that feels. So I feel bad for Bills fans, but hey. They're also the ones that 4 straight Super Bowls that they lost, or something like that.
Yes,
so they're used to it.
Right. They got a good fan base, though. So.
Amazing, very similar to ours.
Yes,
a lot of heartbreak, but
absolutely. So, did you also see LASIK on their social media accounts said again, we are offering free LASIK to all NFL referees? I don't know if it's only ones that, go into the Chiefs game, but they said that right after the game. I was like, that's genius marketing.
It's very, very smart. Absolutely. Jeez.
So, anyways, as far as my week, it was, like one of those weeks I was down in Columbus for the service. And so just kind of had a null there and a stall, but getting things back on pace, looking at the different markets around us, like the Louisville market, things are slowing down, man. These listings, they'll sit there for a while. Right. And it's having that conversation with those sellers to just say, look, we're doing what we need to do on the marketing side. Sometimes there's nothing you can do but just wait. I mean, we're still going to continue our thing, open houses, marketing, all that. But sometimes, it's just it's a waiting game and finding the right buyer, especially in this cold time. Last week we were dealing with crazy low temperatures.
Yeah, last week was a good week for you not to be around because it was 0.
See, I was out in the weather even more, though, down there.
Well, I mean, when it comes to the real estate side, though, that was a good week for you to be there.
Oh, I'm like, I'm a pretty boy on the real estate side, so when I go down the Army, I got to.
That's true. But, I think the weather was the reason.
Right.
I mean, we started off the year pretty hot, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then it kind of died off the last week or so, but I think it's primarily weather. I think people are comfortable, and they're moving. I'm getting calls. At a wrestling tournament this weekend and spent 2.5 hours in my truck pulling credit and doing pre-approvals. So that's a good problem.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's a good problem.
I think it is going to be a crazy spring and summer. I'm really excited for spring. I just know I have a lot of sellers right now who are loading it up, ready to go. Mm-hmm. So they're getting their stuff in line. They're, talking to their tax people. They're, getting with me to figure out, what are we pricing this at and the strategies. And, once spring comes, once we, get towards the end of February, beginning of March, I think the market's going to explode. As far as a lot of listings, as far as a lot of buyers, I think, we're going to get to that more stable point that we've been looking for over the last few years where buyers actually have a home to get into. So I'm excited. I'm excited for what the future holds. And all that's going to be happening.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I think pitchers and catchers report in 17 days. So I'm a big baseball guy. So
really,
spring and baseball and all that. That's
Guardians,
of course.
Okay.
Indians.
I didn't know if we're calling them
Indians. Yeah.
I don't know how politically correct we had to get. I don't know if we're going to get like taken off YouTube for it or whatnot.
Better not.
Right. When they made that change, I was.
No, they made a deal with Major League Baseball to have the All-Star game in 2019, and I think that's why that happened. So
right.
But I think the last 6 letters of our current name are the same as the last 6 of our old names, so maybe they're leaving the door open to come back again. I don't know.
I was really against it at first, but I understand why they did it because it didn't change much of the branding.
No.
But whenever we did it, I said, of course, another Ohio sports team with their logo being the actual, piece of equipment you're using. Because originally it was I don't know if it is anymore, but it was a baseball with like a G across or something. For the Guardians. Like it wasn't the Guardian head as the main logo. It was like a baseball with the.
Yeah, it looked like a 8th grader did it.
Correct. Okay. I don't know if it's still that. I don't know.
I don't know. I got one hat that has the C on it. Like I won't buy anything that says Guardians yet, but my hat
gotta get the old Wahoo.
Has a C on it and it says Cleveland on the back. No Guardians, no.
Yeah.
But I still have all my Chief Wahoo stuff. Yeah.
It's kind of cool though. Like I will tell you what I wanted them to name them was the Spiders.
Yes, because that's what they were
back in the day.
Yeah.
SPYDERS.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah, I like the history behind that and the logo and everything, but I get it because they didn't have to change any of the branding stuff, so they probably saved tons of money when it comes to, the color scheme, to all that different. I mean, they would have to redesign everything.
Well, Indians are very good at saving money.
Oh yeah,
it's not surprising.
Those Dolan brothers.
Yeah. So spring. So inventory wise, what you're seeing, not much.
Well, I just looking in our local markets. I mean, it definitely depends on the market. North Canton's a little hotter, but things are tending to sit, and it's not a whole lot right now.
Okay.
I do think that as we move closer to spring, and we're going to see a big uptick. It's a time of the year we're in right now.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot from past clients who own that are getting ready to finally list, and that's been my biggest thing of the last couple of years is. Everything's been first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
And those first-time home buyers need houses. We're not going to have those until people who own decide to put their freaking house on the market.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to start to see that.
Yeah, I probably have 5 or 6 that are getting ready to go in the spring, just off the top of my head that I know of. And that's without, typically, I'm not getting calls that long out. I mean, maybe it's a month or 2 months or so, but it's not, oh, yeah, we're looking to spring. But I think it's just going to be a change. So,
are those 5, 6? Are they looking to sell to? What are they looking to do? Move away? Move to Florida? They need bigger houses. They need to downsize. What is there a trend there? I guess?
Yeah. So some of them is mothers going to the nursing home, and so they're selling that house. There's 2 of those, and then another one's an investment property. So. Not a lot that are doing the sell and buy, which obviously I love, you love. It's great whenever people sell and buy. Yeah. But I'm seeing people they're finally moving on from their investment properties, or they're moving their parents out of their house so they have that house to sell. I've heard that not even just with my clients, but a few different people who are moving into a different house and selling off that house, and maybe that's because of where we were at as an economy. And people are just hurting, not hurting, but their lifestyle. Us Americans have a lavish lifestyle. So
some more than others, but yeah,
right.
I think that's a good thing. I mean, I would, if someone's selling, or they're not buying something, then again, that's more for the first-time home buyers. So at least, So there's 2 houses now for first-time home buyers. The one that person would have bought and the house that they're selling. So I think that's a good thing.
Right.
I'm not seeing a trend. I got my rental properties that are going. A lot of self-employed folks are calling me right now, just getting their their income and their taxes in line, ready to go. That's probably the biggest these next 2 months, and I think I mentioned that before, and I did one today, sent me his 23 tax return, told me how much of a house he wants to buy, and I was able to tell him how much he needs to show in income this year when he does his 24 returns to qualify for that house.
Yeah.
That's a big thing right now. So if you're self-employed,
right,
and you want to buy a house even in November, once those taxes are filed, they're filed.
Yeah.
We need to make sure the income's there now, not in October or November.
Absolutely.
But so that's, if there's a trend for me right now, it's self-employed folks getting their ducks in a row.
Right. Yeah, I gotta get my ducks in a row as far as taxes go, at least. So
give me a call.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, talking about recap, we were talking right before the show started, and before in the past we've talked. My brother's coming home from Japan, right, and he's going to be here for 2 years, going to school through the Army. So he needed a home, right, and we were looking at single family ones, but it came to a point where, maybe it makes sense for an investment property. I was telling him, like, you can get up to 4 units on a VA loan as long as you're living in, in the residence. Yep. So we kind of talked about, buying a duplex or even greater amount of units, depending on where it's at, to live in it and rent it out, So just want to talk about that process of the VA loan with the duplex, but then also diving into buying with a family member. I mean, that's a lot different than buying with a spouse, because you're legally obligated to put them on the.
Yes. Well, with the VA, the only person that can be on the loan is the VA, the vet, and their spouse. That's it. Mm-hmm. So if it were you and your brother,
yeah,
then he would be the only one on the loan. Now, both could be on title after you couldn't close with both of you on the title.
Really?
Yeah. So he'd have to quit claim you to the title after the fact. But yeah, I mean, if it's owner occupied.
So if we were to split the cost, associated with it, because just because it's 0% down doesn't mean you don't still have costs. You got closing costs, and you're usually going to pay. Yeah. Is it what, a 1% premium for VA?
Well, as far as out of pocket, you're going to have your closing costs and really a year's worth of insurance. If you take your closing costs and then whatever your insurance is, add that together, that's pretty much what you're going to closing. VA has a funding fee, and don't quote me on the numbers, but I think first-time use is 2.3%. So if you're buying a $200,000 house, that funding fee is going to be $4,600.
That's an initial cost, or is that spread across the loan?
That's just added to the loan. So if the house is $200,000, you don't put anything down. Your loan's $200,000. At the end of the day, you actually owe $2,046.
Right.
So it's not money you give at closing, but it's added to your loan.
Okay. Nice.
That's first time subsequent use. So if you do a VA later on, your second, third, fifth house, I think it's 3.3%.
Okay.
It goes up.
Right.
Now, if you're a vet and you get any disability from the VA, that fee's zero. Yeah. So we had a guy years ago, $800,000 house, makes millions of dollars, has multiple businesses that he owned, but he got like $35 a month from the VA. And because he got $35 a month, he didn't have his 3.3, like 3.3% of 800 grand is what, $27,000. Didn't have it because $35 of his $1 million a year in income came from the disability.
Well, not even going on a rabbit hole, but I will be getting some sort of a disability, because that's a big thing in the military. You want to collect things to claim on disability.
Oh, okay.
So once you get done, there's specific lawyers to get a certain amount of disability. Perfect. So I have different things like you can claim infertility through different things. You can claim all different sorts of things. You can claim that you have hearing loss or something like that. And you can really start to play the system. Oh. I know of someone, they went to basic training and they got yelled at by a drill sergeant, and they claimed 100% disability from PTSD.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Getting yelled at.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And 100% disability check, that's no small amount of money. I mean, you get a good amount of money. So, yeah.
That would be a big thing. But this scenario that you're talking about, you and your brother, he'd be the only one on the loan, have that funding fee if it's there. But again, it's not out of pocket.
So I would have to gift the money to him if I were to.
Yeah, technically, yeah, which is okay. Yeah, which brings up another thing. If you're gifting money, no matter what type of loan it is, conventional, FHA, VA, don't actually give it to the buyer.
Okay.
What you want to do is you'll fill out a gift letter.
Yep.
And then you wire the money directly to the title company. Because if you give it before, we've got to track all that. Now, you, the donor, have to supply your bank statement and a transaction history showing the money coming out of your account. Then the buyer's got to get their bank statement and their transaction history showing the money going in. And that just opens up the door for what if the buyer's got other large deposits on their bank statement?
Right.
And what if there's transfers? Then you need it. Just
right.
It's awful. So you brought up the gift. I'm glad you did, because we see that a lot right now. If you just complete the gift letter, wait until closing, and then wire whatever it is you're supposed to wire directly to title.
Okay.
All you got to do.
We don't want people fishing.
No, man. No, these underwriters,
or they don't need to.
These underwriters, and sorry for any of my underwriters watching, they like to think they're little FBI agents sometimes. So just got to be careful. The smoother you can make it, the better. And that would be one way to do it. But so, yeah, you could gift him the money. Correct?
Yeah. And just everyone out there, when it comes to gift funds, all right, myself as your real estate agent, I don't need to know about it. And honestly, a lot of times I don't know about it. And I tell every buyer the same thing. Your conversations with the loan officer are completely separate. You have those conversations. I understand I'm going to hear some of it sometimes, whether it's at the closing table or so forth. But that's one thing that I always assure my clients on is I don't want to get into the financials of it. I don't want to know what your financials are. Brian tells me, what kind of house, what price point we're looking at. Yep. And that's what we go out and do. So I think that, you sometimes get that with family members or friends or people you knew from, school or this, that, or the other. I don't care. I don't care what you buy, and I'm here to help you in the process and, help it be the easiest, smoothest, fun process. But I think people get worried that we think some sort of way about them. Hey, I'm here doing my job.
Yeah. It's not like attorney-client privilege, but I don't share personal private information unless if I think it's going to make your job as an agent easier, and it's going to make my client more marketable to a seller, I will have the conversation with the client. Like, I think we need to talk to Ethan about, we need to ask for $2,000 in concessions because you only have this much in the bank, or you're only getting this much in gift money, and explain that. And I'm not going to do that until that client gives me the okay to talk to anybody about that.
Right.
People are nervous about that, and there is nothing, there is no client attorney privilege or any of that.
And there's even I don't have to know why we need the money. You just tell me we need it, and then I do what I can. I had someone ask the other day, how do we know if we can, get this, that, the other? All you can do is try, and I'll give you the best advice I can give, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's your offer. Yep. And I'm going to be pushing to get those concessions because I think it's a beautiful thing to not have to pay for your closing cost or spread it across the life of the loan. I think that's a huge help too, especially first-time home buyers.
Sure.
And so we can segue right over into that pretty smoothly when talking about those concessions because, we know that's a huge thing. As a first-time home buyer, you might not have a lot of money, coming to the table. And so that comes into gifts, that comes into concessions, and just finding every little way that we can save that first-time home buyer. Yeah. Let me know about some of the other ways you've seen first-time home buyers save, whether it's a rate buy-down, whether it's, the 3-to-1 type deals.
Oh, the 3-2. So
yeah, 3-2-1.
Different things. Well, we can talk about that in a second. But as far as, so what are you asking?
I guess as far as FHA home buyers.
Yeah. Well, so
where can we save them money that people wouldn't always think?
Well, FHA, you can get up to 6% of the purchase price from the seller. Now, if your purchase price is, let's call it $300,000, 6%, it's 18. Is that 18 grand? Yeah, it's 18,000. Yeah. You're not going to need 18,000. And whatever the seller agrees to pay, it can only go towards cost. It can go towards closing costs. It can go towards your home insurance, so your first year home insurance. It cannot go towards your down payment. So if you're getting $10,000 from the seller in concessions, but between closing costs and your insurance, that's $5,500. That's all the seller's given, and you just let them off the hook for $4,500. So it's always, now, if there is extra money out there, all right, maybe we talk about paying points and buying down the rate and using money that way. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
So that it's saving money. Yeah, if you can negotiate more cost out of the seller, we'll find a way to use it. But I don't know. You tell me, is it easier to get your deal accepted with $5,000 in concessions or 10?
It just depends on what you're dealing with. Exactly. I mean, so I'm looking at this property. I'm saying it's been on the market for this long, and for every buyer that goes and look at a house, I tell them I will do a comparable analysis like I'm listing that house.
Yeah.
And to see what would I list at, and then I'm looking at how many days on market, all these different factors to say, okay, if we're doing concessions versus like price reductions, so say the house is at 200, I comped it out at going maybe near 190. Well, I might be asking for 6% concessions there, to get that full amount.
Yeah, just make sure it's going to appraise for.
Yes, and that's all in like price per square footage. That's and I didn't have an issue with that because I had that happen twice this year. We got 6% on 2 different properties, and that's like awesome. You said, I mean, we just attacked those closing costs, and then we bought the rate down to where they're at like a 5% interest rate, which is crazy.
Yep. So FHA concessions you can use, like I said, the 6, VA's 4. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that. Conventional gets tricky. And I actually had a very veteran agent. She's been around forever, and I love her. She's one of my favorites. Asked me this morning, what's the max you can get on this particular client who's conventional?
Depends.
And the client he's banner back and forth doing 20% down, 5%. Mm-hmm. And if it's less than 10% down, you can do 3% in concessions. If it's more than 10% down, you can get 6. And again, we don't expect every agent to remember 6 here, 4 there, 3 over here, but sometimes it's like that's insane to try to remember all that. We can use that if we're trying to save the buyer money.
Yeah,
concessions would probably be the best way to do that. There is some down payment assistance programs through the state, which would be a whole other topic because it's a whole different thing.
Next week.
We can absolutely do that. But that's another way to do it. But concessions would be the easiest way to make it happen.
Yeah, and that's, exactly. Like this last year, there was a certain period when it was like every offer we were putting in had concessions. So I was around it a lot, and I knew, what we could get, at the conventional out was like variable, depending on how much you were putting down. But, like I said earlier, if you don't, dive into the financial side as much as I don't like to know a whole lot about that side. I like to just push off to experts, just like everything with the house. Yeah. I had someone ask me the other day, what do you think of the roof? Well, it looks like a roof to me. I can't really speak beyond that because I've said, in my head, roofs look good or they look bad. And then the inspector says something different and recommends a roofer out there. Yep. So, it's just one of those things where we know our place, and that's where you have to stick on, being ethical in this field and being the best resource for your first time home buyers.
Yeah. A client this morning, not desperate, but in a situation where they want to buy real fast.
Yeah.
Goofy situation, that manufactured home on land. But they weren't connected yet. Like it wasn't real property. It was this was owned by this, and the land was different. And like
those are messy.
Yeah, dude, I can't. Yeah, I'm a big baseball guy, and there was a foundation issue. So, strike 1. It's manufactured home. They're more difficult. Strike 2, there's a structural issue. Strike 3, you've got to buy it with cash, go turn in I think he had to forfeit the deed or something to the county. It's just a mess. I'm like, man, strike 3, we're done. Let's move on.
Look for something.
Could it be done? Maybe, but I can't promise it's going to work that way. And they're not in a situation where they have to do something today. They've got till May. So let's go find something else.
You got some time.
Yeah, man, that's yuck. That was ugly. So I tried not to. Now I won't do that. I did that after talking to their agent too.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to go. If you refer me a client or vice versa, we need to be on the same page.
Right.
If you're thinking, I think this client needs to walk away from this thing, I'll tell them my opinion. by all means, I will back you up on that. And if you say, no, I think we can get, okay, let's do it. But
you're going to go along with the crazy?
Yeah, I mean, that one would have been rough. And I think the client's doing the smart thing. He's kind of turning the page and we're moving on. And I think it's going to benefit him because in that particular situation, even if we can make it all work, 5-6 years from now, when you go to sell, it may be a buyer's market. Who's going to want to mess with all that again? Like, just no.
This is just like a guy or a girl getting a significant other. You know, sometimes you get a little impatient.
Be smart, man.
All right,
be smart.
All right, but you know, if she ain't the one, she ain't the one.
That might cost even more money,
right?
So keep talking about that.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to take a standstill and pause, breathe. And just find out if, she's the one for you, and, or he.
Yeah.
So
it's,
yeah, I mean, I've had that happen. I mean, mobile homes and those are a pain. I've been on no, I haven't been on the buying side of it. Almost was. But we were on the selling side of it. I helped the buyer buy it because their agent didn't know who to reach out to.
Yep.
And Cross Country had like a lender that worked on them.
Yeah.
It was the most pain in the butt process ever.
Yeah, we do them. I mean, you can do them conventional. You can do them FHA, VA. They're just a little different.
Yes.
More things can go wrong that you don't know up front. If you're buying a regular house.
Yeah.
And your credit checks out, and I've done your pre-approval, and well, that's good. Outside of something unforeseen with the house, which is rare,
right?
You're going to be fine. Manufactured homes, a lot of things are going to come up that will kill it.
Yes.
A week before closing, and it's just nobody could see that coming. So
that crawl space can be rough, especially if it's still on wheels, like a mobile home in a park. Those can be a real pain because that crawl space, whether it's plumbing issues, whether it's a leak here. It's just, I don't know. They're just manufactured homes as well. Like they're put together almost just cheaper. It's just cheaper. And that's why you pay a cheaper price for them.
It's a trailer.
Right. It's a trailer. Yeah. Right. And you know when you walk in them. And I've had clients who they won't go to a certain house because like it's that ranch with just the,
Looks too much like a manufacturer.
Yeah. Too much like I can't have that home. No, too much of a manufacturer. I mean, like got the bedroom in the front and
Yeah.
So
no, they're good for the right situation. On a financing side, because I know you can sell the ones in the parks. Yeah. We can't. It's got to be on its own land. It's got to be deeded. It's got to be basically a single family.
Oh, they're paying the ass in the park.
I can imagine. Yeah,
because you're working with the park people, then you're trying to figure out, okay, you might have interested people, but then how does that interested person buy it? If they need a loan, if it's a loan, it is just, it's like they make it nearly impossible. Yep. They make you want to pull your hair out. So you're dragging that along. You got a seller who's impatient because they're like, the selling process takes 30 days, and this loan is dragging out for 65 plus days because apparently, like, and I don't know if this is with every mobile home in a park and who works with them, but they basically do all the underwriting up to it, and then they do the appraisal on it.
Oh.
So they, like, fully underwrite it, and then they do the appraisal, which just made it, like, take a lot longer.
In my opinion, that's the right way to do it. In my opinion, our world works backwards.
Yes.
The decision maker doesn't look at the file until appraisal's back and income and all these things are in. But by that point, you've already paid for your inspections. You've given earnest money. You've paid for homes, which is kind of why when we do our pre-approvals, we made sure that our underwriters are at our disposal up front. So
yes.
if my client's got some iffy income, I can send all that to underwriting before we do the pre-approval. So I like that process. I can understand it takes a long time and you want to kill somebody because it's taken 2 months to close, but that process of underwriting first, actually, I think it's the right way to do it.
Right. And then nowadays, I mean, these mobile homes, low end, you might get one for $30,000 that's decent, but honestly, they're sitting more closer to like 50, 60. Wow. And, depending on the area, obviously, and condition, but, like on top of that, you're paying that $60,000 loan, and then you're also paying a lot rent on it.
Yeah.
So
like association dues made it pretty.
And then you have utilities. Yeah. So like at the end of the day, you're sitting at $1,000 payment, and you don't even own the land it's on, and you're not removing that thing. So it's gonna be a pain in the ass when you sell it again. Because if you have to move it, I mean, I forget what the quote was for it. Because someone was like, "I'll just buy it and then I'll move it on the land some way down the line." Like, wow, that's real easier
you can't
said
just
than
hook it
done.
up to your truck and pull it out of there. It's not a camper. I mean, it's
Right.
You have to hire somebody to do that. I don't deal with the park stuff, so
It's a weird tangent, but I love we got onto mobile homes because they're a pain in the butt. They're usually cheaper, so they don't make you as much money, but everyone's valuable.
certain states, I think North Carolina, a lot of manufacturing.
Yes.
Texas, our old company had some branches in Texas.
Yeah.
And this one guy, that's all he did.
Really?
He and his wife manufactured homes, and he made an absolute killing. But that's all they did,
Manufacturing king.
And good for him. That's not what I want to do. But again, it depends on where you live. I mean, in Ohio, we have them, but not nearly as prevalent as North Carolina. There's a lot. There's a lot in Texas.
Right. Okay, and do you only sell loans in Ohio? I can't remember.
Personally, I am licensed only in Ohio.
Okay.
My branch, 10, 12 states now.
Okay.
We're all over the place.
I know a lot of lenders will have different states. Like real estate agents, I see it if you're on the border of some states, and then also a lot of Ohio agents have Florida licenses, which because they have lower board dues and it's easier that way. But
Well, so in our office, myself, Mike Lockie, he's my business partner, we're branch managers, and then we have Dan Kozma. Dan is licensed in, off the top of my head, Michigan, North Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, Indiana. I mean, all over the place.
Yeah.
So if I have a client, and the reason Florida is important to us, and Arizona is another one. That's where we retired to. That's where everybody goes from Ohio. That's where they ultimately go. So we don't want to lose that business.
Yeah.
So we do loans in Florida all the time for our clients that are moving from here to there.
So I should get my Florida license.
I don't think it's a bad idea. And Dan can do the loan for you.
And then you're just going to see me down there in Florida every week, and I'm going to be like, I'm leaving Ohio.
And Dan's got more experience than both Mike and I.
Okay.
Dan's very, very, very good.
Where'd he come from?
So Dan is 55. Dan, sorry. 55, 56.
55 years young, 56 years
I think
young.
Dan. Dan was with Signature Mortgage, I think, late 90s when he started. He actually he's Mike's brother-in-law, got Mike into the business in 2001.
Okay.
And he was at Signature with us until we left, and he came along with us.
Nice.
So lots of, we added it up one day. Between myself, Mike, and Dan, I think we've got almost 80 years worth of experience.
Oh, well,
Makes me sound old, but.
Well, I'll tell you, one trick I always use, and you're nowhere near this, but I've had 75-plus-year-old clients, and they'll say something about them being so old, and I'm just they'll say, "Oh, I'm 75 years old." You're 75 years young.
Well.
Years young.
Yeah.
And they love that. Oh, the women love it when I say that.
Good sales tactic.
Yeah. Slimy, manipulative salesman. We are assholes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know where we were. Manufactured home?
No. We are on our commercial break, and we are going to be starting a new segment whenever we have one of these, and that is going to be highlighting local businesses in the Stark, Summit, Northeast Ohio area. And so I will be starting off with it, and that is George's Lounge right here in downtown Canton, where we are filming this podcast right now. You walk into this place and you get pure nostalgic vibes. The wood paneling, the oval bar. It is just a great spot to get a good burger, get cold beers. So I highly recommend that place. Bartenders are great. Get in there, get some good food, see all the craziness that goes on in downtown Canton, because there is plenty of it. And you might just see some of it walk through that door. Who do you want to highlight?
I'll highlight the Nook over in Massillon. I've been hearing about it for years, never been. And we showed up Friday night. A little busy. We only had to wait a half an hour, which I thought was pretty good at 6 o'clock on a Friday. But yeah, man, if you want good old-fashioned American barbecue, that is the place, boy. They know what they're doing. Smoked. Everything we had that was smoked perfectly. And I've been playing around with smokers and things for the last couple of years, and they know what they're doing. It is some good stuff. And not incredibly expensive either. So the Nook, Friday night, it's good stuff, man.
Good. And they're only open a few days, right? What is it?
I don't know.
Okay, I forget.
I know about them. I've only been there once now. But
I think they're only open, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday or something. I can't remember.
A lot of smoke joints are that way. They'll smoke their food Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They'll put it in heat lockers and things and then serve Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or things like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're only open 3 or 4 days out of the week.
Right. Gotta love some good barbecue. So we are just so appreciative of our local businesses. And we know that, the last week has been kind of hard with the cold weather. And so we encourage you, everyone out there, to go out and support local. Obviously, chains are always going to get touched. And we know that we have local chain owners in our community as well. But there's just something about a mom and pop that gets me going. So how about we throw some claps in for our local restaurants? That's awesome.
Sweet.
Okay, awesome. All right. So now we are going to wrap up this podcast in just talking about some current events, things that are going on in the news, whether that be local, whether that be on a national scale. We're going to get right into it. So I want to bring up first, because I know Brian is huge on the TikTok world.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about this TikTok ban? What do you know about TikTok? That's what I want to know. I want to hear. You're like, my daughter is probably on it, but
exactly right. Marcy's on it too. She's on it quite a bit, but I know nothing. I know it's owned by a Chinese company.
I don't think it's Chinese, honestly. What?
All right.
It's not Chinese. I know it's not Chinese, but there's something there. It's owned by like some sort of shareholders, and some of them are like a part of the Chinese and government things.
Well, I know Trump flip-flopped on it. I know he initially wanted it banned, I think, and then now that it helped him get elected, he doesn't want it banned, but now he wants.
He's figuring out a solution.
Yeah, 50% ownership, U.S. ownership or something. I don't know.
It's a little political manipulation, it seems. I mean, it worked out in his favor because he made everyone turn on it, and then he used it to his benefit, and now he's, did you see that? Well, you probably didn't see it, but there was a message that came up, and it was like the day that it was supposed to happen. Yep. It said, it locked everyone out, and it said that they were basically shutting it off to all Americans because of the conflicts with the government. Yeah. And then the next day, whenever they struck that deal to extend it 60 days, it came up and was like, thank you to President Trump and his efforts, we have brought back. It was like, what the hell? Like, did Trump tell him and tell him to put that in?
To make sure his name was in it?
Yeah, well, and I told everyone. I mean, I have people, obviously, in my age range, everyone's on TikTok.
Yep.
And I'm on TikTok, too. I really don't understand it. I'd love to get, famous on it until I got the new phone the other day and found out I was locked out of it. No more TikTok for me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone was, so concerned. Oh, TikTok's going away. We're never going to get this. We got to go to Instagram Reels. We got to go to YouTube Shorts. Whatever. We're on all those, by the way. But I told them, whoever the CEO is of TikTok was at Trump's inauguration sitting in the front row. And I'm like, how the hell in your right mind can you think that's going on and TikTok's going to be gone then longer than 24 hours?
Yeah.
So current state of it is I can't download it because
why can't you download it?
So if you had it on your phone, if you had it on your phone downloaded, you're fine. They won't supply updates on it.
I see.
Because it's still technically banned, but it's not. It's such a gray area.
So even though I've had my phone for a couple years, because I'd never downloaded it, I can't download it.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. And with me now, I had on my other phone it transfer this, but whenever you got a new phone, you have to re-download all your apps.
Sure.
So yeah, I can't get in that. I can't get in the CapCut, which is what I use to edit my videos. So there's a lot of change, and I told someone yesterday I don't like change too much. I understand change is part of life, and we got to figure it out, and you got to be reactive or proactive. I wasn't really proactive because I didn't know it was going to happen.
Well, the TikTok thing really didn't impact me, but
people are selling their phones. They used to have TikTok on it. They're selling them for
just because of that?
$1,600, $16,000. Well, no, I think it was $16,000 I saw on Facebook Marketplace.
Well, okay.
So, all right, I don't mean to get on a tangent on TikTok,
a good one, man.
But
I didn't know.
But that's what it's craziness. That was the biggest news, and then
I can't imagine it's going away. they'll figure something out.
There's a lot of people in our industry and small businesses in general that have built their whole brand on TikTok.
So that's definitely a lesson of don't put all your eggs in one basket.
I know. If only I could just have a big enough basket to put that. No.
That's right. That's right. No, I don't know much about the TikTok thing, so you educated me quite a bit there. So
good. All right. So now we'll talk about the fires that are going on down in California, and I mean, because we just have natural disasters every so often, like our down on the coast, North Carolina and so forth. We had that madness, and now we're dealing with the fires. So, what do you think is going to happen with them? It's obvious there's a lot of like millionaires and billionaires down there that's houses are burning.
I don't know. It depends on who you listen to.
Right.
Some folks are saying 75% of the people won't rebuild. Some people say that they're not. I have no idea. All I know on our side of the world, mortgages, anytime there's a natural disaster, like we talked about earlier, we lend in Florida and some of the Gulf or some of the coastal states.
Right.
If there's a hurricane, most of the time, if we've got a loan in process, somebody's buying a house and we haven't closed yet, that house needs another appraisal to make sure that nothing happened to it.
Nice.
So I've never dealt with a fire. I mean, if your house burned down, we're definitely not lending on it. It's going to be messy.
Yeah.
Real messy out there. So hopefully they can cut through some of the red tape and start rebuilding. But
yeah, well,
I couldn't imagine though.
Per Trump, when he went down there for his, whatever event that was, the yelling match, he said that a lot of home builders, or home people at homes there wanted to rebuild. The problem is it goes a little deeper than just going out there and rebuilding, because like he was saying, there's zoning stuff that's involved. There's, like all this different things where, if you want to build a home, you have to send it through to your planning and think about how many homes have to get, built over there. Again, and there's only so many inspectors.
Yeah, and same deal. Depends on who you're listening to.
Yeah.
If you listen to Adam Carolla. Now, I do believe a lot of what he says. He's lived there his whole life. He was a construction worker before he was famous comedian.
Yeah.
And he's saying that based on all the rules and regulations right now, at a minimum, it's going to take 5 years for you to rebuild your house with all the EPA stuff, and all the things you have to go through to do that. Now, again, I'm an expert at mortgages. I'm not an expert on California law, but hopefully they can cut through a lot of that crap and get rebuilt. Same thing in North Carolina. They still need a lot of help, and hopefully they can get that so they can move on. But from a lending side of things, if your house burned down, we're not lending on it anymore. It's going to be tough. I mean, it's rough.
Well, and there's certain things in the home buying process that do stall things or completely end them altogether. I mean, if there's a death, that's why you never know. When you're going to buy a house and you're in that process, I tell people don't count on it till you have the keys in your hand, and so we're on the Keys and Credit podcast. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I've seen craziness happen. I've seen craziness happen, day of closing. So,
yeah, even if you have the keys and credit, doesn't mean you're going to get the keys.
They go together.
It was a few months ago. I had a deal fall apart. It was bad, and an agent had called me.
Yeah.
And I was complaining to him. And he said, well, he had worked with this buyer or the seller for, he's a strictly a listing agent, worked with this seller for 3 months, went through all of this headache, got everything done. He's 2 days from closing, and the seller just dropped dead. And the house was in probate. He didn't have everything set up. So now it took 3 months to get the house to the point where we're ready to close. Now, who knows, it's probably still in probate. So I quickly was like, well, you win.
Yeah.
It's bitch fest right now because mine was not as awful as that. So I haven't had a client die the day before closing. It happens. But
it does happen.
So, yeah, you don't know.
It's a bad day.
What's going to happen. It's an awful day.
It's just like when we talked about it, I think it was the first or second episode. Don't spend that commission check till you have it.
No.
And even when you do have it, yeah.
Don't look at a client as a paycheck either.
Yeah. So I have people down in Florida who were dealing with, the storms and whatnot, and, reach out to me to move back to Ohio. So I think that might be a trend we start to see. Ohio's a safe state, and so if you're over there and you're a celebrity in, LA or whatnot, and you're watching this right now, because I know you are in tune and in tap with us, please reach out. We'll get you a home. And we got some nice ones over here.
Just leave politics there.
Yeah, trust me. We'll bring you over here. We'll put you in a nice little hotel for a little bit. We'll go house shopping. We'll get you pre-approved with my man Brian. And, Kim Kardashian. I don't even know who else we can call out. Not sure who else lives over there, but I'm here for you. Yeah. All right. And I know Brian is too. Yeah. I'm
assuming most of you don't need a loan though. So.
Oh, they'll need a loan because rich people love money in their pocket. All right. Don't trust me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm also eyeing up. Who are the Browns going to draft? Who can I wiggle in a room with? Like, is Travis Hunter out there like looking for a real estate agent when we draft him?
Yeah, you don't think the Browns got real estate agents in their back pocket?
See, how do I get on that list? That's what I want to know.
I'm not the one to talk to about that.
I'm going to have to get their number and just shoot them a text. Yeah. Like, hey, let's just have a little buyer consult.
You can do that.
Let me treat you.
Reach back out.
Let me treat you to some McDonald's, and let's.
That'll probably seal the deal right there.
Let's get it figured out, and then
upskill a little. Chick-fil-A at least.
Man. Yeah. Just can't go on a Sunday. I was at the mall yesterday, and I got a Chick-fil-A gift card.
Take them to George's or the Nook.
Yeah, George's. Oh, George's. What a sight that would be. Hey, I'm taking you to the Hall of Fame city.
That's right, man.
And we're going down to George's. And they walk in there, and there's just like some dude coked out in the corner. Like,
well.
Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. But I swear I've seen some craziness there, but I love the place. I mean, cold beer, great burgers. So that was like another shameless plug to the Nook and George's. They're going to start paying for this advertisement era.
So, see it first.
Right. So either way.
What else has been happening out there? I don't know.
That's pretty much it. I mean, we've had a lot of.
What?
The AI.
The new one that just dropped and ruined the Dow today.
I did not know that. No, I did not see that.
See that. I saw
AI?
a little ticker go across.
A new AI dropped? Did it explode? Adam Robb on the mic.
It's called, I think. Oh, that's too loud. It's called a Deep Think, and it's another Chinese app that just dropped, and it's like ChatGPT.
Really?
Deep Think.
Deep Think.
What does it do?
It's like a version of ChatGPT, but it's even crazier. There's more utility, and it's like #1 in the App Store today. And it only took them a year to make, or it's only been around for a year. And it only took them $6 million or something to develop.
What?
Wow.
And so it threw the whole economy into all the tech blue chip accounts or stocks have been plummeting.
Yeah, I saw Nvidia was way, way, way down.
So, shoot, I got that stock.
Yeah, Dan in my office came in and told me I need to buy an Nvidia today. So.
Yeah, just don't check your,
Well, I
was logged out because of the new iPhone. I got the new iPhone. I've been logged out on my Robinhood. I can't see.
Now you got to sue Apple because you're missing out.
I know, right? Now I'm going to log back in and
lawsuit. I did see
that is crazy.
That, and I saw. So when we look at interest rates, we look at the 10-year Treasury. When the 10-year Treasury goes down, that's good for rates. When it goes up, it's bad for rates. So I saw that headline and I had enough time to look at the 10-year, and it was down, which is good for rates. So rates got a little bit better today because of this new Chinese AI app.
So if you guys didn't hear that or knew who I was talking, I guess, that was Adam Robb, our producer. And,
yes, sir.
Yeah, so great insight by my man, Adam Robb.
AR.
Yep, AR, the DJ, the producer, the everything. He does a lot.
That's right.
So, all right, new AI. So, do you know the new iPhones, they have AI integrated into them?
It's funny we brought that up. Took a picture of my dog yesterday, just screwing around, and I didn't realize there's a little button in there that you could go in and draw things, and then hit the AI button, and it will put bunny ears on the dog. I didn't.
Yeah.
Again, I'm
crazy.
6 years old, man. I don't have TikTok. I don't do much of the AI stuff. But so you say that today, when literally yesterday was messing around with that, making my dog look stupid.
That's awesome. Yeah. So who would have thought? I mean, if you think of me and you being here and how much we talk about politics and all this craziness, you would think we'd be coming up with the Chinese conspiracy theories. But we got our man Adam Robb, who is just dropping bombshells on me today. I didn't even know that was happening. I've been so locked in dealing with all you home buyers and home sellers. Haven't had any time to look into this.
Oh, man.
The witch hunts. So
Well,
I think that's all the current events we have going on.
There's more, but I don't want to talk about people getting. Well, we had.
We got to take a break from.
Confirmed.
Yeah, we got to take a break from the hardcore politics.
Yeah, man. A lot of things are going to happen in the next couple of months, and I'm just going to work.
Yeah.
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 Keep grinding.
Right.
Yeah.
It affects me a lot, like because we just had a new Secretary of Defense come in, which.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I'm not going to say my opinion on it because technically we're apolitical in the Army. You're not allowed to.
That's true.
Yeah. So I could comment on it right now.
Yeah.
In uniform, you're not supposed to. Yeah, you can say whatever. Like you do usually say whatever the hell you want. So getting me in trouble with my in-laws.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
Whatever.
But yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And I think so. There's Hegseth, and then who was?
They got the Marco Rubio already was in, but they had the
first one. Yeah.
RFK.
That's this
Did they
week?
get him in? No, they didn't get him in yet.
think-
They're trying to today.
I think this week's Pam Bondi.
I think he's gonna have a tough time.
Which makes no sense because he was a Democratic national, like he was gonna, like I don't understand why he would have a hard time. But Kash Patel,
Because Democrats hate him because he was Democrat, now he's Republican basically, and
He didn't toe
or he
the
says
line.
independent. Republicans hate him because he used to be a Democrat and he has some radical views. So I don't know.
for what he's going in at, I'm happy with. But keep him away from the EPA, stay away from the environment because his thoughts on that are insane. But I think I think this week is RFK, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel. That's a big one. The FBI one.
Yeah.
He's that would be an interesting one. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else there was. There was a female that just got confirmed too.
Tulsi Gabbard's this week too, I think.
Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, I think, are going to be the toughest ones. I think one of those is not going to get confirmed.
Which makes no sense, but
It doesn't make sense, but it's politics because a lot of Republicans don't like Tulsi either.
there was another one this weekend.
Yeah, some secretary, treasurer. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so that I believe is all we have for this week. I want to shout out our man Adam Robb again for giving us a quick turnaround. Oh. Hey, we're working on that. It's going to be up and running, and I can't wait to give out more shout outs, more local spots, and let you guys enjoy this 45 minutes or so of content. And let us know if you have any questions below, whether it's a clip or whatnot.
Questions,
You want to hear about
topics.
it? Topics,
What topics?
questions.
Oh.
I
You
know.
want to hear us talk about confirmations?
Yeah,
I doubt it. So let us know if there's something that you want to hear.
we're just gonna come in here and talk about football, like local beer
do that.
and burger spots, and that's pretty much the whole thing. And then we're gonna be like, well, if you want to buy or sell, you should really reach out to us. We're number one podcast in the Canton area. So still,
6 weeks running,
yeah.
I think.
Still, the undefeated number one podcast in the Canton area. This is the Keys and Credit Podcast. We are so happy that you enjoyed this 45 minutes with us. Have a great week. We will see you next one.